Lesson 6, Project Maturity Model. The Project Maturity Model is a framework that is used to progressive development of an organization in its capabilities on project management. That means that it is a tool used to measure where the organization is in terms of using project management and how the organization then can use that information to move and improve its capacity in managing projects. It is a model that has 6 levels, and I'm going to explain what each one of these levels means. The idea of levels is that they are like stepping stones, meaning that you might start your process and identify that your organization is at this level. Level 1 is kind of an awareness of what is project management. There are ad hoc processes in place, and that becomes your first step. And then you use that as a way to start improving and moving from one step to the next level until you reach maybe one of those levels in which you say that is the level the organization is comfortable. It could be depending on the environment, and maybe there's a lot of competition from other organizations for the same donor funds. So there's a need to have a level of expertise in project management, and that way it will define what is the level the organization needs to grow, and eventually maybe become a level 6 organization where all of that experience and the capacities are at an excellence level. Let's look at the first of these levels. The first one is known as a level 1 or awareness. It means that their ad hoc process means that every project kind of does its own thing. They have their own process, their own forms. Most of that is done or driven by individual efforts. A project manager might have some expertise and he applies that in the project. In other parts of the organization, there is no expertise and they're struggling. Most of that is part of the personal experience of who is in charge of the project and the skills they have at that time when the project is started. And most of the tools that are being used at that level in the organization are quite basic. The next level is known as the level 2 of understanding. That's when there is a better understanding what is needed. There might be some few guidelines and instructions on how to do some components of project management, some informal training that it's not mandatory or there are no specific standards about what is training. A lot of the focus at that time in the project is mostly task oriented. They are going to be focusing more on the activities, much less on the outputs or even outcomes. Many manual forms and basic tools again to organize and collect the data. A level 3, that is when the organization is starting to have a better understanding of what is project management, and that's when they start adopting some of those best practices. So there are better policies and procedures. There is now a singular methodology how to do projects, and it's available to the rest of the organization. Now we see some formal training on project management based on that methodology. Recognition of standard roles in project management, and better use in terms of the forms and the technology used to manage all of that information. The next level, level 4, that's once the organization is started at the execution level. That means that now the organization has implemented the methodology. They are now standard metrics to measure the performance of the various projects. The focus is measuring the efficiency, how the different projects are using its resources to produce the different results. More focus on outcomes and not much on activities or outputs, because they know that everybody knows how to do them, so they're looking more at the outcomes. There is a project management office set up in place that also organizes and manages the methodology. There is a learning and development process for people in the project that even when they are new, they know the trainings and the courses they need to take, so they are up to date in terms of using the methodology. Even customized training to specific needs of the different projects, as their complexity might be different, but there is an environment where they can get that training. And project tools are more complex. There's a project management information systems that is used across the organization for all the different projects. So the collection of data and the analysis of the data is much easier. A level 5 is focused on performance. At this level, there is a lot of process improvement, looking at ways to be more efficient in the use of resources. Now, within the organization, there is a lot of coaching. So the role of the project manager is also coaching the future project managers in terms of the using of the methodology, using of the best practices. A lot of the lessons learned are then applied into new projects. So there is a process in place that every project produces lessons that are used in all the projects during the design and during the planning. There is also performance objectives, what is expected not only of the teams but also the projects about how they need to perform and what are those objectives. There are also customized tools, more complex tools, and then even knowledge sharing systems or platforms that helps different projects communicate with each other and start creating some synergies in terms of how they bring those lessons more into the day-to-day work of the projects and not having to wait until the end. So that knowledge sharing environment is now used across the different projects. The last level is level 6 of level of excellence. That is when the organization is looking at optimizing the use of resources, the processes, the procedures. It is also then organizations recognized as the place where there are the best practices. There is a career path for project managers from the moment they start in a project and they go to the different levels, but it's not recognized. There are centers of excellence in the organization that could be located in many areas, but the idea is they are the sources where there is the best practices and they provide the guidance and the support to all the projects. The tools now are integrated, and it's not just a project information system, but that information is now integrated with the financial, with the human resources, so the organization has a whole view of all that information. That is when we have a higher use of the portfolio dashboard to make those decisions. And then it is part of the industry standards that it's now the organization is seen as the leader, and it's providing the standards that other organizations will try to follow. The project management maturity model, it's not just a view of what the organization is, but it looks at 3 elements, 3 components: the process, the skills, and the tools. An initial assessment of organization might say that yes, we have good level 3, we have the process, the methodology. Even the tools could be very sophisticated. We are at that level where we have integrated tool, we have a project management information systems, but my skills could be very low, maybe here. Whatever is the lowest denominator, that's going to be where you are in the organization. And that is important, especially when we're talking about skills, that the process might be in place, the tools might be in place, but if people don't know to use it, it's better if they are not there. So moving the organization is important, that all of these 3 elements are moving in pairs, so that if an organization wants to say they are at a level 4, then it needs to improve its process, improve the skills, and then they can say they are at a level 4. And the same way, if they want to move to a level 6, then all of them have to also move at the same pace and create the changes and create environment to make sure that that maturity in project management is reached on all of those 3 components.